That's right on, and this is everything, what human design is all about. What you were just, the dilemma you were just speaking about. And we can see it like in certainly in those Asian countries and China, and, there's this underlying energy amongst the people underneath, that it's there. They know something and they look towards America. They're like, wow, they see that these changes that are occurring in America, even though it seems crazy, they're longing for it too, because the world is a homogenized place. It's the intention of what's going on in the what we call in the Maya. The Maya is the illusion, the world, everything that's manifest out there. It's what we create. It's is the Maya. It's the illusion, right? And so, um, uh, in that field, it's all about trying to be like the other, is trying to keep things the same so that it can be managed better and in better order, can be controlled better. If you have too many variants, it's just it's just crazy. It's just hard to control it. And so uh, human design is here to awaken the individual. It's not everyone's going to you know gravitate towards it. It's going to be there for those who are ready to do that. And the moment you start discovering yourself in that way and following your own authority, the thing that's inside of you that lets you know when to act, when not to act, that when we understand the true nature of our being and how it works, and it's not complicated, when we understand it and we start applying it, implementing it, over time something changes. And what changes is that your perspective of of the world, of how the world been operating, you start challenging that. That's what happens. We challenge the status quo, because now we're being ourselves. And but there's a way to operate, as ourselves within it. We're here to do that. We're here to wake up, to be in it, but not of it. You know, and not get swooped up and caught up in it and lost in the spin of that whole portal that we're going down. It's to be in it and to recognize it, and to navigate through, by being yourself, by being ourselves, by tapped into authority that's always, it's like it has a connection to the cosmic energy source, whatever you want to call it, God, whatever. It's connected to that, our inner authority. And when we are in tune with that and following it and trusting it, doesn't matter what's going on out there. It's always, it knows where to place us. It knows with whom to place us. And that's the beautiful thing about it. And the more people are operating from that place, and over time, we're bringing more people into the world who are operating from that place. Yeah, change will occur in a sense where something different in terms of our consciousness shifts. The general, it will change over time. It's changing anyway, but from operating, correctly, based on our own authority, it sets a like a tone of a new frequency of people on the planet, and it's that's kind of how I see it.
And it's cool because back to the discussion of, the solstice, it's like this portal, of possibilities around shifting consciousness and having deeper levels of awareness, right? And I continue to hope, right? I have this ideal of global community and that we can work together and we can care about one another and still run loving, effective business, right? And then I make the distinction of the reality and the division, and just, it's almost like the ideal versus the condition, right? And I can't help but look at the condition of how, I don't know, I don't even like to focus on it. I don't like to talk about it, because I feel like by bringing it to light, I'm actually reinforcing it. So I prefer to talk more about the possibilities of what that condition isn't, which is stepping into the possibilities of everything you just said, shifting consciousness and doing it holistically, not just as individual countries, but as kind of a global community, especially with business these days and e-commerce and the internet and everything is like kind of pulled together. But at the same time, that division remains.
Do you feel any kind of guilt around any of this?
Okay, when I think of guilt, so process what I'm processing the essence and the energy of what guilt means. Guilt
Hmm.
is a lower frequency.
Well, it depends on how
Uh,
you look at it. Remember, everything has two sides, right?
yeah. So just confronting your question directly to me. So when I think of myself as a soul, as an essence, um, I guess contextually, I feel like I have contributed to the essence of the world and as it is, doing the best I can as a human being, right? Also as an enlightened being too. So I guess there is kind of an implication of guilt because I'm part of the situation. I'm an aspect of the holistic effect. So therefore I had a cause in it. So as I check my heart and resonate with that essence and that frequency of the guilt, I guess there's a component of that there. Um, More directly, Richard, what do you mean by that in the context of how I would feel about that?
No, just it was just a question, and you were just saying. So, in your feeling of guilt, is there any way that guilt can be something that's used as a energy to really move you forward with it, rather than feel bad about it, rather than you know, can it be something that empowers you instead?
What's coming to heart now as you talk about this. It's responsibility. I don't know if y'all have done Landmark. Landmark is one of the est spinoffs, and there's lots of different courses like that. And one of the things that Landmark teaches is ultimate responsibility and being responsible for everything, and ultimately taking responsibility for things that I don't even feel responsible for because I had a role in it by conveying an energy or putting an intention or an essence into that space. And the moral of that learning and that process for me was about, as I take responsibility for the essence and the condition of society as a cog in the wheel, that implication of, yes, I am a guilty party. Well, then immediately, okay, then what am I going to do about that? How am I going to show up now with maybe a feeling of heightened responsibility based on the condition that the world is, based on how I described it, and being guilty as charged as being a factor in that, and then immediately stepping into a space of, okay, what am I going to do now? How am I going to be a cause, as opposed to being at the effect? Because I think a lot of people live in the condition of effect. So I appreciate the energy and the essence of that guilt energy, because there's a positive side to it as well. It's more like, what do I do now to be no
So
longer guilty, I think.
it's beautiful. Elena, have you noticed a difference in his shift in how he started speaking about guilt from the beginning when I asked that question?
Oh
You
yeah.
notice any difference?
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, he got motivated by when he thought about it. Well, wait a minute. Yeah, now it's like now what can I do? I mean, how can I use this guilt as the place to, to there was a motivation that came from him taking responsibility. Like, yes, I have a part in this whole thing. There's but how can I use this now to bring some sort of a positive change or something? So it's
That's good.
that's why I asked the question so that you can reflect on it that way.
Good distinction. I appreciate it.